Morning, everyone. I welcome you all to yet another session on CSAP news analysis. That is the in-depth news analysis for UPSC and APSC. So let's begin with today's session. So before starting the session, I would like to talk about these two groups. Okay, one is a WhatsApp group, the other is a Telegram group, and you guys can join these two groups. And if you join either of these two groups, you can download the PDF of today's newspaper analysis by clicking the link. And how can you join these two groups? The link to join either of these two groups has been given in the description below. And before starting today's session, I'd also like to tell you about this interview guidance program, which has been going on for quite some time, under which we are providing the best of guidance for the interview for APSC CCE 2022. And this is our interview panel. It includes some of the brightest minds of the country and the state, including Sri Anil Swarup sir. He is an IAS retired, and he was the former Coal Secretary of India, and he is a very accomplished author as well. He has written, there are many books which are to his credit. We also, a part of this interview guidance program is also Sri Robin Kolita sir. He is an IRTS retired officer. He was the former director of IRCTC, and he has also been the former external member of the APSC interview board. Then Omio Kumar Boraso is also a part of this interview guidance program. He was a former APSC chairman. Then Sri Dilip Bora is also a part of this IGP. He was a former IPS officer. We also have Sri Rajdeep Lekharusa, who is the founder and director of Civil Services Achievers Point. We have Sri Japulris Koleda sir, and and we also have Ijaz Ahmed sir. So this is the content list, and it contains the topics which we are going to cover in today's session. Okay, as you can see, the number one topic is Broadcast Regulation 3.0, Commissions and Omissions, importance of disclosure of political donations, UNLF Peace Accord, All India Judicial Service, and prelims facts. Okay, so let's begin. So this is the first important news, Broadcast Regulation 3.0, Commissions and Omissions, and it is related with paper, it is related with GS2 and government policies and intervention. It is important mainly from the mains point of view. And why it is in the news? It is in the news because the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has released a Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill 2023, marking a significant step in the regulation of broadcasting. Okay, the bill is part of a series of endeavors to regulate broadcasting in an integrated manner. Government যোনবিলাক আমি টিভিত চাওঁ বা যোনবিলাক আমি ব্ৰডকাষ্ট হয়, সেই ব্ৰডকাষ্টিঙৰ এম্বিটত বা সেই ব্ৰডকাষ্টিঙৰ বস্তুটো আৰু ধুনীয়াকৈ ৰেগুলেট কৰিব বিচাৰি আছে। কিছুমান বস্তু এতিয়ালৈকে গভৰ্ণমেণ্টে ৰেগুলেট কৰিব পৰা হোৱা নাই, যেনেকৈ ফৰ এক্সাম্পল দি OTT প্লেটফৰ্ম till today it is beyond the ambit of government regulation. So government, for example, is trying to bring it within its ambit. Okay, আৰু regulation নাথাকিলে কি হয়, one disadvantage, one demerit is that government এতিয়া OTT platform বিলাকে they have been one complaint, okay, one persistent complaint about OTT platforms has been that it has been there for a very long time, that it has been promoting vulgarity to a very high degree. Okay, so that has been a consistent complaint, that has been a consistent cause of concern for large sections of people as far as the OTT platform is concerned. So that is just one thing. Here key highlights, okay, ahok ami kisuman key highlights or bikhoye porhu of draft of Broadcasting Services Regulations 2023. It is how the legislation consolidates and updates regulatory provisions for broadcasting services, streamlining the process and extending its scope to include OTT content, like I said, in digital news. Okay, a move that is currently regulated under the IT Act 2000. Contemporary definitions and future-ready provisions to keep pace with the evolving technologies and services. The bill introduces comprehensive definitions for contemporary broadcasting terms and incorporates provisions for emerging broadcasting technologies. Then at the same time, it also strengthens the self-regulation regime. It enhances self-regulation with the introduction of content evaluation committees and evolves the existing interdepartmental committee into a more participative and broader broadcast advisory council. Okay, then these are certain positive provisions in the bill. A provision of subscriber data maintenance. Government ki koro bicharise, the bill requires broadcasting network operators and broadcasters to maintain subscriber data records. Atar kiman subscribers ase, kiman nai, sob records tadi government logot maintain koribo lagibo. Aru a broadcasters bilake, they will also need to undergo periodic external audits. Okay, tahator time to time audit hobo. Then again, the bill aims, it also aims to establish what? It also aims to establish a framework for audience measurement and ratings data sale, introducing transparency into the cable and satellite television industry's value chain. Okay, তাহাঁতৰ কিমান audience measurement, কিমান ratings, সেইবিলাক data, সেইবিলাক সব government জনাব লাগিব. Apart from this, junto terrestrial broadcasting or junto concept. Okay, what is the meaning of terrestrial broadcasting, or what do I mean by terrestrial broadcasting? Terrestrial broadcasting is that broadcasting junbilak radio waves or through these junto agote dhorok amar ghor azikali pray, the thing is shifting towards what? The thing is shifting towards satellite channels. Sei karone নহলে amar ghor agote ki asil, amar ghor agote antenna thake. So the broadcasting which is done with the help of antenna and all, that is known as terrestrial broadcasting. Etia a bill khone ki okay, what is this bill aiming, or what is this bill trying to do? It is trying to allow, or it allows private broadcasters to participate in terrestrial broadcasting. Iman dine private broadcasters were not allowed to participate in terrestrial broadcasting. Terrestrial broadcasting was the monopoly of Doordarshan. Okay, it has been the monopoly of Doordarshan. Okay, and Doordarshan is as we all know, it's a what? It's a government broadcaster. ঠিক আছে? So a ekhone ba a etialoke act howa nai, ঠিক আছে? Etialoke bill hoy ase, bill khone a postu to koribo bicharise. Now there are positive thakile, negative thakiboy. Okay, so there are several concerns. Okay, for example, the bill completely lacks any guardrails to shield the privacy of subscribers. Etia moi jal bagate kolu broadcasters bilake subscribers bilakor bikhoye information dibo lagibo, audiences bilakor bikhoye. So that is a direct attack on right to privacy on the part of the subscribers. Then, for example, inclusion of OTT content suppliers as broadcasting services. A major concern is the bill including OTT content suppliers in the definition of broadcasting services. Now, impact. There can also be an impact on news media and journalists. The bill's expanded broadcasting definition restricts the professional opportunities for journalists and news outlets, not part of large multilingual television networks. Then, questionable directions and oversight. Content Evaluation Committee. The bill's proposal for a content evaluation committee is questionable. The bill intends to form what? The bill intends to form a content evaluation committee, and that particular committee will evaluate the content, whether the content is appropriate or not. Now, the thing is that this content evaluation committee contradicts the role of an internal oversight mechanism in maintaining news accuracy and journalism quality. Now, this content evaluation committee might interfere, and it might lead to what? It might lead to a lot of interference, which may not be good. Okay, which may not be good with respect to what? With respect to free and fearless journalism. So এইবিলাক কিছুমান concerns হয়. এইবিলাক কিছুমান concerns হয়. Significant omissions. The bill fails to address issues of ownership in the media landscape. Despite an emphasis on audience measurement methodologies, there is a noticeable absence of provisions to regulate cross-media and vertical ownership. Cross-media ownership, as previously defined by Tribe, poses a threat to diversity by consolidating media power. So these are some of the significant omissions. And these are the two questions. What are the main issues that India's Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill is trying to address? Provide policy recommendations intended to establish and maintain strict regulations for the nation's telecommunications industry. Then there is a previous year question also. In India, it is legally mandatory for which of the following to report on cybersecurity incidents? And I want you guys to attempt this question. Now, let's talk about the next important news, that is importance of disclosure of political donations. This is why it is in news with the hearings in the Supreme Court on the electoral bonds challenge having concluded. It is a good time to discuss how important the outcome of this challenge will be to democracy and rule of law in India. Okay, political parties in any country play an indispensable role in the democratic process. It is the main issue is regarding political funding and trying to trace the origin of that fund. Where do the political parties get their money from? Because we live in a parliamentary democracy, and because we elect them to be the future representatives, we elect them as representatives. So it is our right to know where the political parties are getting all the money from. Because why? Because they pump that money into electoral campaigns, and it is the electoral campaigns. India tete obostha to iman beya hoi goise je junto political party besi paisa thake, there is a great chance there is a high possibility of that political party coming to power. Kintu when India voted, but when India chose parliamentary democracy as the as the system to go ahead with, then this was not what it intended. Okay, jodi paisa thoka party power ahibo, tenehole money can do a whole lot of things. Money can even buy votes. Money can get the elections rigged. So এইবিলাক কিছুমান, so সেই কাৰণে transparency থাকিব লাগে. This is the main issue. Okay, anyway, we already have a lot of acts. Okay, we already have a lot of laws in this country. For example, Representation of the People Act 1951, the RPA Act. What does it do? It outlines the rules and regulations regarding elections in India, including provisions related to the declaration of election expenses, contributions, and the maintenance of accounts. তাৰপিছত আমাৰ IT Act আছে 1961, Income Tax Act. এখনে কি কৰে? It governs the tax treatment of political parties and their donors. Okay, political parties need to comply with tax regulations, and individuals or entities making political donations may be eligible for tax benefits under certain conditions. তাৰপিছত Companies Act আছে. Companies Act regulates corporate donations to political parties, specifying the maximum amount a company can contribute, and mandates disclosure of political contributions in financial statements. Okay. Now there are certain other important instruments of political funding. Electoral bond scheme already our country ase. The electoral bond system it introduced ketia kora hoisil 2017. Okay, finance bill through the jodio 2017 introduced kora hoisil, it was implemented ketia 2018. Aru the electoral bonds bilage ki kore, they serve as a means for individuals and entities to make donations to registered political parties while maintaining donor anonymity. কোনে donate কৰি আছে হেতু ইমান easily মানে গম নাপায়, while maintaining donor anonymity. ঠিক আছে, exemptions কিন্তু এতিয়া এইবিলাক various methods হয়. ঠিক আছে, methods of political funding, individual person. Okay, representation of people sector allow করে political parties to receive donations from individual persons. এইবিলাক সব ঠিক আছে, কিন্তু as long as we get to know where the political parties are getting money from. ঠিক আছে, while allowing taxpayers to claim 100% deduction, state public funding, okay, direct funding. The government provides funds directly to the political parties. However, direct funding is prohibited in India. Because government nijor political party to paisa dibo নোৱাৰিব. Okay, that is not legal in India. Then we have something called indirect funding. It includes other methods besides direct funding, like free access to media, free access to public places for rallies. It is allowed in India in a regulated manner. Terms of corporate funding, it's a big cause of concern. In India, donations by corporate bodies are governed under Section 182 of the Companies Act 2013. Supreme Court Supreme Court has instructed the Election Commission of India to provide the recent data on funds received by political parties through electoral bonds. Okay, just imagine. The Indian Supreme Court has long held that the right to know, especially in the context of elections, is an integral part of the right to freedom of expression. That is Article 19 under the Indian Constitution. As citizens, we have the right to know. As citizens of a parliamentary democracy, we have the right to know where the money is coming from, how much money the government, or how much money each political party is making through electoral bonds. Hetu amar right hoy jana, hetu amar adhikar hoy, aru hetu eta maulik adhikar enshrined in the Constitution under Article 19. Okay, now see, these are certain needs for disclosure of political funding: upholding citizens' trust, okay, preventing undue influence. Without disclosure nokorele ki hoy, money can become a tool for some to undue influence the political process. Okay, elections, they might get the elections rigged, they might buy votes. ঠিক আছে, maintaining a level playing field. আৰু যদি ধৰক যদি যাৰ ওচৰত পইচা আছে, সি যদি বেছি পইচা যদি ফান্ড কৰি আছে, okay, তেনেহলে the whole contest between different political parties, it will become an uneven contest. So those with a higher amount of money at their disposal will be what? Will be more inclined, or they will be at an advantage. Okay, to put it across in a simple language, those political parties with a higher amount of money at their disposal will be at a big advantage. Okay, they will be at an advantageous position, and it will not be a level playing field. Kisman globally amar ase trends ase, jeneke for example, see and international practices or mote prevailing requirement is full disclosure of political donations. Okay, political parties bilake disclose koribo lagibo full tahati korpora paisa korpora poa nai. Across the world, including the United States, regulations mandate transparency in political funding. European Union, or it has enacted regulations on the funding of European political parties, incorporating limits on donations, disclosure mandates, and immediate reporting for large contributions. Okay? Now, this is a CSAP mains practice question. Why is full disclosure of political donations considered essential for upholding democratic values in India? And how does it contribute to transparency and accountability in the political process? Now, this is another important news, UNLF Peace Accord. Now, recently, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he has announced the signing of what? Signing of a peace agreement with Meiteis separatist group, United Liberation, United National Liberation Front, UNLF in Manipur, terming it as a historic milestone. So, this is a short history of insurgency in Manipur. Manipur has been in the cross currents of India's oldest insurgent movements. Bahut agar pra choli ase that insurgency movement, that Naga movement ba etia hoy ase Naga movement. It is the country's longest running insurgency, which fights for the greater Nagaland or Nagalim. Etu etia just mane etu olop it has been put on the back burner because the center has signed some kind of a deal. The center has entered into an understanding, Naga Peace Accords ame jako. It has entered into an understanding with the groups, with those groups which have been demanding, like for example, NSCIN ase, with those groups who have been demanding greater Nagaland or Nagaland. Kuki ase, Meitei ase, the Meiteis in Manipur oppose the merger agreement between the Manipuri king and the Indian government. About UNLF, see, UNLF ki hoy, it is Manipur's oldest militant group dominated by the Meitei community. Meitei community was in news because there was a clash going on for a long time. Meitei community was in news for a months-long clash between the Meitei and the Kuki groups of Manipur. So Meitei community and one of the 7 Meitei extremist organizations banned by the union government under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. It was established when? It was established in 1964. Founder Kunasile Arambam Samarendra aimed to liberate Manipur from India and to form an independent socialist state of Manipur. Take a sec. Objective, it favored a long-term program to secede from India. Already kois way. So, so significance of the deal. Why this deal is important? This deal is important. It was a historic milestone. Historic milestone, Karan, for the first time. For the first time, a valley-based proscribed organization has engaged in peace negotiations since the eruption of ethnic violence in 2023. So this ethnic violence was in news for a long time. It had gripped the attention of all the countrymen. So ever since that ethnic violence has happened, it is the first time that a valley-based organization, a militant organization, has engaged in an insurgent group has engaged in peace negotiations, established peace. The UNLF, known for its armed struggle, has agreed to renounce the path of violence. This is again a very significant development. Then challenges, see, multiple stakeholders. All that sounds hunky and dory, but at the same time, there are multiple challenges involved in this. For example, the peace agreement, it can be complex. It can be complex to implement, Karan, due to multiplicity of stakeholders. Meitei bilakor logot peace agreement korar loge loge aru belek groups ase, Nagas bilak ase, thik ase, Kukis bilak ase, tahator logoto government has come to an understanding with them. Thik ase? So ebilak kisman challenges yat humai ase, opening up of issues, diverse demands, moi koiswe already. Each group has its own distinct historical grievances, aspirations, demands, making it very hard to arrive at a resolution that satisfies all parties. Distrust ase, a distrust or issue to both important, lack of trust. This has been, and distrust has been there ever since the colonial rule. There has been a lot of distrust especially between the people of the hills and people of the plains. There has also been a lot of distrust with respect to the central government. They don't believe in government. They don't easily believe in government. So the government has to come forward and the government has to take them into confidence. The government has to make them feel as if the government is their own. The government has to come forward. It has to extend an olive branch. It has to allay their fears. It has to allay their apprehensions. Now there is hope for long-lasting peace with the UNLF Manipur Peace Pact, but there are obstacles to overcome. So these two can be questions. So I want you guys to practice both these questions. All India Judicial Service. Now, this is again very important. Why this was in the news? Because the President of India advocates for an All India Judicial Service to recruit talented individuals nationwide, fostering talent from lower to higher levels and offering opportunities for underrepresented social groups, aiming to create a more inclusive and skilled judiciary. AIJS ki hoy, ami hokolwe jano. AIJS is a proposed service, okay, that would recruit and train judges for the lower judiciary through a common entrance exam patibo conducted by the Union Public Service Commission. Etia ki hoy lower judiciary bilakot prottekhon state beleg beleg exam pate, okay, jak etia for example Assam Judicial Service buli ko. So it is very similar to what APSC and UPSC does, okay. Etia for example, if you want to enter into APSC services, you have to write APSC civil service exam. If you want to enter into central services with regard to civil service, then you need to you need to write UPSC civil service exam. So think AIJS. Okay, AIJS is an exam which will be, if it becomes a reality, it will be conducted by Union Public Service Commission. Our main objectives ki hoy to improve the quality, obviously all India basis of ami মানুহ উঠাম, ঠিক আছে। এতিয়া কি হয় বা এতিয়া কি হৈ আছে, প্ৰত্যেকখন ষ্টেটৰ নিজৰ নিজৰ মানুহ, সেইখন ষ্টেটৰ মানুহে থাকে ইনভলভ। In all India basis, আমি যেতিয়া উঠাম, so we can attract a lot of talented people from various parts of India. ঠিক আছে, so এইবিলাক কিছুমান issues আছে, okay. Then accountability of the judicial system to ensure uniformity. Then the Constitution of India also provides for the creation of the AIJS under Article 312. Okay, it empowers what? It empowers the Parliament to enact a law for this purpose. An argument in favor of implementation. Okay, এইবিলাক কিছুমান arguments which are in favor of implementation. আমি কিয় implement কৰিব লাগে? So আমি কিয় implement কৰিব লাগে? For example, it would strengthen the federal structure and autonomy of the states. ঠিক আছে, it would enhance the diversity. মই যে হেতু কথা কৈ আছিলো, diversity and representation of the lower judiciary, as it would ensure a fair and merit-based selection process. It would create uniformity and parity among the judges of the lower judiciary. It would help in solving the problems of vacancies and pendency of cases. Ami janu already kiman cases pending hoy ase. Okay, it has been in the news for quite some time now. So hebilaku problem opra ami ulai ahibo paru ba hebila problem ami solve koribo paru. Now it is not free of challenges, of course. Anything is not free of challenges. The constitutional framework, the appointment of district judges falls under the jurisdiction of the states. Okay, it comes under the jurisdiction of the states. So implementing a centralized recruitment system like AIJS, it requires consensus among states and the central government, posing a constitutional challenge. Okay, there's also been a lack of consensus among stakeholders over the years. Discussions among chief ministers, chief justices, and governmental bodies, they have failed to reach a unanimous decision. Resistance to change. Okay, we are always resistant to changes. Jetia kiba eta hal holoni hoy, ami potokke he change to ami accept nokoru. ঠিক আছে, পৰিৱৰ্তন আমি পটকে accept নকৰো বা accept কৰিব নোখোজো. The existing system has been in place for years and there might be resistance. And of course, there are also various complexities in regulations. Now, these are the two questions. Okay, I want you guys to practice both the questions. Now, see, these are certain prelims facts today. As we all know, is Okham Divas. It is observed on Okham Divas. It is observed on December 2nd. Okay, it is a regional public holiday. And it marks what? It marks the day on which Sukafa, okay, Saulung Sukafa, the founder of the Ahom dynasty, and one of the greatest personalities of Assam, is said to have entered the Assam Valley, and he laid the foundation, and subsequently he laid the foundation for a glorious, okay, he laid the foundation of a glorious dynasty which established a long-standing rule over Assam. Okay, that dynasty ruled over Assam for around 600 years, and it becomes the longest ruling dynasty, longest ruling Indian dynasty. Okay, so and Sukafa, now why do we celebrate? Why do we celebrate his arrival as Okham Divok? Because at the same time, Sukafa is also known as one of the most important creators of the larger Assamese community. Okay, in fact, he's said to have laid the foundation of a larger Assamese community. Why did he do so and how did he do so? Because see, Sukafa, right from day one, he was very clear that I want to establish myself. I want to establish a dynasty here. And if I have to establish a dynasty, I need to be on good terms with the local people, because there were already many tribes staying in Assam before the arrival of Sukafa, like Morans, Borahis. Like Morans and Borahis, there were many other tribes. So Sukafa, after defeating those tribes, he did not make an enemy out of them, but he extended an olive branch. He reconciliated with them. Okay, and he gave them positions. He gave them high-ranking positions in his administration. Okay, and he also promoted intermarriage. So by doing that, he laid the foundation for the creation of a greater Assamese community. And in order to celebrate, so as he is known as the architect of Bor Ochom. In order to, as a mark of respect to this great person, so we observe Ochom Diwak on every December 2nd. Now there is again this news, which is again important. INS Kadmat, Indian Navy ship. It is, it has been deployed to the North Pacific, recently conducted underway replenishment with Japan's J.S. Tawada. And about INS Kadmat, it's an indigenous stealth anti-submarine warfare covert. It is the second of 4 anti-submarine warfare coverts built for the Indian Navy by the Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers of Kolkata under Project 28. It was commissioned into the Indian Navy in January 2016. The ship was inducted into the Eastern Naval Command of the Indian Navy. It has been named after the Kadmat Island of India's Lakshadweep Islands. So that's all for today. This is our academic team. This is our content developing team and technical team. So thank you so much. I'll see you all in my next session.